Diversity, equity and inclusion, or DEI, has become a common phrase in workplaces, but what does it really mean? DEI programs aim to create fairer workplaces. They want everyone to have equal opportunities. This means removing barriers for people from different backgrounds. These programs recognize that not everyone starts from the same place. Historical discrimination has put some groups at a disadvantage. DEI tries to level the playing field. It's about creating a work environment where everyone feels valued and respected. DEI programs can take many forms. They can include things like bias training, mentorship programs, and flexible work arrangements. The goal is to create a more just and equitable workplace for all. While DEI programs are designed to benefit all underrepresented groups, some have benefited more than others. Data shows that white women have seen the most significant advancements. This raises questions about the effectiveness of DEI in truly leveling the playing field. White women have made considerable strides in leadership positions. They have also seen a narrowing of the gender pay gap. Access to parental leave and flexible work arrangements has also improved. Interestingly, white women hold a majority of chief diversity officer positions. This trend has sparked debate. Some argue that the focus on gender diversity has overshadowed other forms of marginalization. This has inadvertently benefited white women over other groups. The LGBTQ+ community has also seen some positive changes due to DEI efforts. Visibility and acceptance of LGBTQ+ individuals have increased in many workplaces. Companies are now more likely to recognize Pride Month. They're also more likely to have employee resource groups or ERGs for LGBTQ+ employees. Healthcare benefits have expanded to be more inclusive of transgender employees. Many companies now offer coverage for gender-affirming care. There's also been a push to promote pronoun usage in the workplace. This helps create a more welcoming and respectful environment. However, challenges remain. Discrimination and bias still exist. The LGBTQ+ community, particularly transgender individuals, continue to face barriers in the workplace. DEI initiatives have also brought about improvements for families needing IVF, disabled individuals, and veterans. Companies are increasingly offering coverage for fertility treatments. This helps alleviate the financial burden of IVF for many families. The Americans with Disabilities Act has brought about significant protections for disabled individuals. DEI programs build on this by providing specialized training programs and mentorship opportunities. Companies are also making workplaces more accessible. Veterans are another group that has benefited from DEI efforts. Many companies have programs in place to recruit and support veterans. They offer preferential hiring, dedicated support programs, and mental health services. Section 5, a backlash against DEI meritocracy under fire. Despite the progress, DEI programs have faced growing criticism and backlash. One of the most common critiques is that they prioritize identity over merit. Critics argue that DEI initiatives lead to hiring and promotion decisions based on race or gender rather than qualifications. This, they claim, undermines meritocracy and creates reverse discrimination. Some argue that DEI creates a culture of victimhood. They believe it unfairly paints certain groups as victims and others as oppressors. This, they say, fosters resentment and division rather than unity. This backlash has led to a decline in DEI-related job postings and corporate investment. Some companies are scaling back their DEI efforts. They fear legal challenges or negative publicity. Section 6. The business case for DEI fact or fiction. Proponents of DEI often cite the business case for diversity. Studies have shown that diverse companies tend to be more innovative and profitable. They argue that a diverse workforce brings a wider range of perspectives and ideas. This leads to better problem-solving and decision-making. However, some studies challenge this link between DEI and improved financial performance. They argue that the relationship is complex and not fully understood. This has led some to question the effectiveness of DEI programs. The debate over the business case for DEI is ongoing. More research is needed to fully understand the impact of diversity on company performance. Section 7. From civil rights to DEI, a historical perspective. To understand DEI, it's essential to look at its historical context. DEI programs didn't emerge in a vacuum. They are the product of decades of social justice movements. The civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s laid the groundwork for DEI. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. This landmark legislation paved the way for equal employment opportunities. It also set the stage for affirmative action policies. Affirmative action was introduced to address historical disadvantages faced by marginalized groups. It aimed to increase their representation in education and employment. White women in particular benefited significantly from affirmative action policies. Section 8. Challenging misconceptions. The true aims of DEI. One of the biggest challenges facing DEI is the prevalence of misconceptions. Critics often misinterpret the goals of DEI programs. Some see it as a form of reverse discrimination or a zero-sum game. They believe that helping one group means taking away from another. However, DEI is not about giving preferential treatment to certain groups. It's about creating a level playing field where everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. It recognizes that systemic barriers have historically prevented certain groups from reaching their full potential. DEI aims to address these systemic barriers and create a more just and equitable society. It's not about taking away from anyone, it's about ensuring that everyone has a fair shot. Section 9. Implementation challenges building a more equitable future. Even with the best intentions, implementing DEI programs effectively can be challenging. One of the biggest challenges is resistance to change. Some individuals may feel threatened by DEI initiatives. They may perceive it as a criticism of their own privilege or a challenge to the status quo. Another challenge is the lack of consistency in implementation. DEI programs can vary widely from one organization to another. Some companies may have robust programs in place, while others may only pay lip service to diversity. To be truly effective, DEI needs to be more than just a box-checking exercise. It requires a genuine commitment to creating a more inclusive and equitable workplace. This involves ongoing education, open dialogue, and a willingness to address uncomfortable truths.